Now. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tutor Training. My name is Kate. I'm an adult educator, and I will be leading this training today. So we're going to start by doing introductions with everybody. We're going to do your name and why you are a tutor with Learning Lab. So my name is Kate. I'm an adult educator, and I love working with people. I love working with adults on helping them reach their goals. And I think literacy is a great way for people to become really independent and be able to do things for themselves. So let's go to Diane.
Hi, I'm Diane Morton. I'm retired and I've lived in Guatemala for 10 years. I learned Spanish. And so now I've been up in the States for about 5 years and I've been working with different English, the ESL place. And now I'm with Learning Lab and I love teaching people literacy skills also.
Okay, thank you. And then was it Dawn?
Don is also known as Camus, and I can't seem to get my camera working, so sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, so I just want to help people. So,
Okay.
and it seems like I know English, so that's an easy thing to help people with.
All right, short and sweet. I like it. Let's go to Linda.
Yes, hi, I'm Linda McGrath, and I am retired also, but was looking for a volunteer opportunity where I could feel I was being very beneficial and helpful to people new to this country. And this seemed like the perfect fit. I don't have a lot of teaching background, but I just feel like helping others achieve their goals, as you said, Kate, is really important. And these people are so passionate about learning and about either becoming citizens or getting jobs through their English skills. So I find it very rewarding. And I've only tutored 3 or 4 times now, but I find it very, very motivational to me and inspirational and love it.
Great. Bruce, you're up next.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if my camera's working or not.
Yeah, we can
It
see it.
is.
Okay,
I
because
can
I
see
can't
you.
see it on the screen. Anyways, well, for the reasons already mentioned, on Bruce Wennington, also retired, and for the reasons Linda so well articulated, that's why I do it. I also like working with adults, and as compared to younger ages, and partly because they're motivated to actually learn.
Yes.
You don't have to wrestle with them, and so the incentive is on their part, is like to help them be successful.
Yeah, all right. And then Jojo.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing going down the list by last name? But then I was like, oh yeah, seniority, that makes sense.
No,
Um,
it's just how my screen looks.
oh yeah, so anyway, I have been to uh 2 sessions with these guys so far, and I've just started doing it because it's my class needed me to do my applied linguistics and TESOL class needed me to do uh some volunteer work like this. So I ended up um I was gonna help at the library, but then through a convoluted chain of evils, I ended up helping the class over Zoom. So I'm helping those guys. And it's actually pretty great because like these guys are like the best at English like I've seen in my like limited experience with volunteering, which I've only done like once before in this area, but like these guys are even better at English, and it's just crazy to me how good they are. But I still feel like I can learn things and teach things. But yeah,
Right. You sure can.
it's just so satisfying to see that they have that foundation already, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Okay, so who else has already tutored in a class or two?
I
I
have.
I
Okay.
have.
Okay, great. Everybody has? Okay. All right. So then we'll talk about classes in a little bit here, but you'll already kind of know what I'm talking about when I get there. So first, Learning Lab, it was founded in 1993 by the Women's League of Boise. And it started in the downtown library and it grew and grew and grew. And now we have our own building in uh, in Garden City, and it's the Justice League, not the Women's League, the Justice League of Boise. Now we have our own building in Garden City. We are still at the downtown library. We're at the Colin Eustick Library. We're at Garfield. We're at Deseret Industries, and we're on Zoom. We're kind of all over the place. Our mission is transforming the lives of adults and families through personalized education. And so what that means is that we're not doing front of class teaching, we're doing group activities, but then we're really focusing on small groups, individual, one-on-one, personalized lessons for the students. So in a class, it really varies in levels. You'll have some students who are native Idahoans who are getting their GED, all the way to somebody who maybe arrived in the country a week ago and doesn't speak English, and maybe this is their first time in any sort of classroom. Maybe this is their first time with literacy at all. So the class really varies, and that's why we rely on our tutors to help us implement these personalized lessons. There you are, Don.
And we finally figured it out.
Hi, Don.
All right, so I am going to share a video from our Lunch for Literacy that we had last year about some of the students talking about their experience. So
I should have
Hold it
mentioned
up.
that. We've been going to Lunch for Literacy for a year, and my wife usually does a basket for the auction.
Oh,
So
great.
so
Okay,
we've known about you for a long, long time.
good. Has anybody else been to Lunch for Literacy?
No, didn't know about it.
Okay.
Hey, when is that typically?
It's
February?
in February, yeah, like the
Oh.
first week of February.
Oh,
So
okay.
once we get a date locked down, we'll be sure to let everybody know. Check those emails that Jennifer sends out. Okay. We're gonna watch like 2 minutes of this video about the students talking about their experience at Learning Lab.
Because I do music, I do gospel music. So before I was trying to sing my music in my language, Swahili, and I stay and sing about the area where I live in Boise and entire America. So I said, okay, I sing Swahili, but people around me speak English. And when I do my music in Swahili, they will not understand anything. So I said, okay, I need to do some changes. So that is why I was come to study English in Learning Lab.
Barry, in America, you will work even if you don't know English. A challenge will happen. Having a high position in your work.
I like my class, and I am coming to my class every week for 2 days, and I'm waiting for my Monday or Wednesday. Which day is Monday? Which day is Wednesday? I want to go to my class. I like it.
My first day on the class, it was something new to me. It was making me more happy because about me, I don't know a lot of people. In this class, I see everything. I learn everything. I have a new stuff. I see new stuff. I learn. It was making me happy. I have a couple of friends right now.
already learned, and in this community we have a lot of support, and we can have the enough time to watch the kids and enough time to make something for ourselves, because I think when we are learning the other language, you can be more involved in the community, and when you are being involved, you can have the equality, like other people, equality opportunity, equality life. I have
All right, so that was from some of our students. We had a GED student featured there, a Zoom student, an English student at the Colin Eustick Library, and a student who goes to our main office. So yeah, we're spread out, we're everywhere. We're trying to meet the needs of all of the students that we can where they're at throughout Boise. So we also have citizenship students. We have students who have been in the country for a long time. We have students who are brand new to the country, refugees, immigrants, US born, families, individuals, people who were college educated in their country, people who are brand new to school literacy education, people who have a lot of English, some English, and little English. So we say literacy for all. That's our motto here at Learning Lab, and we really mean that. We serve everybody that we can within that. Any questions about who our students are?
Oh,
No.
All right. Okay, so speaking of the students, a lot of our students are in our classes for an average of 3 years. Some of them are in our classes a little bit more. Some of our students cycle through classes a lot faster, and that could be for personal reasons. It could be for work reasons. They might move, a whole bunch of reasons. So we say, come to the program. Don't join a class just because oh, my favorite student's in this class, because they might leave. And we want you to come to the program. We want you to be here for all the students. So in a class, try to get to know all the students, not just the ones that you're working with. Okay.
Do students come and go on occasion? Like they come for a while, then have to go and then come back?
Kind of. We do have a wait list and we do enroll students. So it's not a drop-in type situation. They are enrolled, and if they do have a certain amount of absences, then we would ask them to take a break. But the way I phrase it is, it seems like your life, maybe you don't have time for English class right now. How about you take a break and then text me when you can make this class time more regularly and you can come back. And then, so sometimes we'll see students, and they'll take a semester break, they'll take a year break, they'll take a few years break, and then they'll come back. So yeah, a lot of our students though are returning semester after semester. They have good attendance.
They're
It's
committed.
What's that?
They're committed.
Yes, a lot of our students are very committed, and we try to encourage that. Definitely. It definitely helps us plan, and it helps you, the tutors, with your implementation of the lessons and feeling connected to the class. So we definitely want to encourage regular attendance. So the lead teacher, an adult educator like myself, my role is to lesson plan, is to do student classroom management. I make sure that I have enough students for the tutors, that I have enough tutors for the students. I assess the students. I work on setting goals with the students and creating lessons that are at their level and meet their goals. And so some of the tutors and students kind of say we're like the principals, the main educators. We do some tutoring. I prefer to tutor as more of like a substitute because I can get pretty distracted looking at the whole class while I'm trying to work with one student. So a lot of the lead teachers were not doing as much of the tutoring. So the tutor's roles, you are teaching the students, you're in the small groups working with them for a bulk of class, and you're supporting the students reach their goals, and you're supporting the teachers by doing the lessons that we give and by giving us feedback and encouraging the student. So we kind of have the bird's eye view of everything in class, but you are the ones that are working with the students, talking to them for an hour and 20 minutes during the class period. So you might find out things that we don't know, and it's really important for you to share that information with us. Like if a student says they want to start looking for a new job, that would be great information to pass on to me because I could find lessons about job interviewing, or if the student wants to start looking into something like trade school for something, then maybe I could find some English that could help them, some kind of vocational English lesson, something like that would be great to know.
Mhm.
And same with you. If the student tells me I want to apply for a new job in a few weeks, then I would create a lesson, and then I would tell you, the tutor, I would say, the student wants to apply for a new job in a few weeks. So you're going to do this lesson instead of your regular lesson for right now. And maybe at the end of class, you'll do mock job interviews, something like that, like really treat the student like they're going through a job interview. And so we want to help the students reach their goals. So it's really important that we know things like that are going on. That being said, Learning Lab is really good at what it does, which is education and literacy, but we're not social workers. We're not police. We're not emergency services, anything like that. So if a student says, I want to apply for a new job, that's great. That can align with goals. We can create an English-based lesson for them to study. If they say something like, if they say my job is mistreating me, that's good for us to know, because we could help support them in that, but we wouldn't be, we're not social services, so our hands are tied there. If it's a legal thing, something like that, we can't get involved in legal matters like that. So that's just to say, have boundaries with the student. If the student says something like, if the student says something that isn't something that we can deal with in class, that's good to let us know, and that's good for us to check in with the student with. We have resources we can share with the student, and we have connections, but we really like to stay in our lane, and we really want our tutors to. So another thing with boundaries would be, don't offer a student a job if you work at, if you work somewhere and you need a secretary, don't recruit at Learning Lab. If the student organically came in and applied, then that would be fair. That would be a fair thing. But if you're at Learning Lab saying, here, come to my office, interview for a job, that's different. Same with like, oh, I need help around my house, something like that. That can get, that can get tricky, that can get sticky. So none of that, please. No meeting outside of class, no extra tutoring, nothing like that. No offering rides, that's a liability thing. And just, keep it professional, because when you're at Learning Lab, you're a representative of Learning Lab and our values. So please respect those boundaries that we have, because we believe that through literacy, the students can become autonomous and they can start to do these things for themselves. but we do have resources we can share with them to help them along the way.
Kate, I had a question
Yeah.
related to that. I've had two students just offhand indicate they wanted like legal help or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the one, I can't remember her name. She's from Ecuador. She hasn't come back.
Yeah. We can
And
talk about individual students later. This is
well, I'm just saying in general, all I
Yeah.
was going to do was uh, look up something like Idaho Legal Aid or the IRC.
Yeah.
Somebody was interested in citizenship. Um, so I just showed them the contact for the IRC here in Boise, and
Mhm.
it's up to them. But that was one of the questions I had, was the whole boundaries thing,
Yeah.
because it can get messy quickly.
Yeah. So, for future, just let me know if a student asks you about that. But you did the right thing by just
Okay.
showing them, here's a resource that's known to everybody. So that's another thing. If it's a resource that's known to anybody, you can absolutely share it with anybody at any time. If it's a resource like, oh, my cousin has a law firm, let me connect you with my cousin, that's different because now there's that personal connection, and maybe your cousin does some pro bono work for that student, and then that student tells their friend, hey, Learning Lab has free legal aid. And then we have students coming to Learning Lab and they're like, but my friend got it. Where's my free legal aid? And it becomes a whole thing. Or, Joe Schmo helped me with this. Why can't he help me with this too? And now you're on the line for all these things. So, yeah, boundaries, keep to literacy, keep to education, or public, well-known resources that you don't have to be the connection to. You don't have to go to our IRC with the student. They can do that on their own. Those are all totally appropriate. Same with many other situations. If a student says, I'm sick, you can tell them, oh, here's how you look up a doctor in Boise type thing. But also, yeah, just tell the students that you can explain to them, especially if they have that level of literacy, that you are just their teacher, and that if they want more help, to come and talk to one of the adult educators, and we can further explain why we can't help them with that, or we can give them a resource that we know about. Okay, yes, great question. Boundaries make for great relationships because they keep everybody on the same page, they keep everything professional, and it keeps things fair. All right. Any more questions about boundaries or roles?
No.
No? Okay, great. Let's move on. Okay. We're going to do an activity. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can I have somebody volunteer to read the story about Finnyquigs right here? Okay, Don.
There, my audio. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Finny quigs. There are 10,000 kinds of quigs in the world. However, only finny quigs make finny. There are 3 types of finny quigs: stips, fallers, and terps. The stips' jobs to smat the cots. The fallers are smaller than the stip, and their jobs are to make the finny and to take care of the cots. The terp's job is to film with stip. A stip must film in order to smat faller cots. If the stip doesn't film, the stip can only smat terp cots.
Oh my God.
Great. Thank you, Don.
Sounds like gobbledygook to me.
We'll see about that. We'll see how much you were able to comprehend. Bruce, true or false? There are 10,000 kinds of finnyquigs in this country.
True.
Yes, true.
Okay, let's read the first sentence again.
Oh, there's 10,000 kinds of quigs, but I don't know how many. I don't know how many finnyquigs there are.
Okay, and it also says in the world, and this one says the
Oh,
country.
Oh,
So do we think this is true or false?
false.
We'll go with false
False,
because
yeah.
there's some clarifying things.
Yeah, in our country, quigs are an endangered species.
Maybe this reading doesn't tell us. All right, Jojo, name 3 types of finnyquigs.
If I didn't look at the text, I would have no clue.
You can look at the text.
Yes.
Okay. Stips, fallers, and terps.
Great. All right, Linda, what is the STIP's job?
the STIP's job is to smat the cots.
Yes, thank you. Diane, which are bigger, the fallers or the terps?
The fallers are smaller than the stips. Turks. Did you say Turks?
Okay, let's read this sentence here. The fallers are smaller than the stip.
Yeah.
Okay, so our options are which is bigger, the fallers or the terps? The fallers, the terps, or it doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Yeah.
And then Don, number 5, what happens if the stip doesn't phlegm?
Stip doesn't phlegm. Then the stip can only smat turquoise cots.
Correct. Okay, good. I'll say we got a 100% on that. We worked together. We got that. All right, a few follow-up questions. Linda, can you tell me your first memory of a finnyquig?
My first memory of a finnyquig.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a finnyquig, so I have no memory of a finnyquig.
Really? That's interesting. Okay. Okay, Bruce,
Yeah.
what do you do if a finnyquig were to hurt you?
Well, I would go immediately to my teaching supervisor to report the situation and let her handle it.
Oh, okay. I don't know how much I could do in class, but yeah, we'll try to figure it out, I guess. That's a good start. Jojo, you mentioned that finnyquigs are endangered in our country. What can we do to help protect them?
Contact the Finnyquig Preservation Society if we find one hurt in the wild.
That's a good start. That's a pretty good start. Okay.
How does this make the Jabberwocky look comprehensible?
Okay, yeah, great question. Let's talk about. So we did this quiz. We did this 5-question quiz, and we were able to answer all the questions. And then when I did my follow-up questions, everybody seemed a little confused. Why is that?
Because it didn't make sense.
Right.
But you just read the whole story about them.
But I didn't really understand it.
Huh. But you answered all the questions, right?
Black and white.
Okay, what can I do as a teacher to help you understand? Because I think you could answer my follow-up questions if you can help me help you. What can I do to help you?
Some history on the whole quig deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some background, some more background.
Yeah,
Could
what are
wait,
stips?
go ahead.
What are they? Stips, fallers, terps? I don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, so maybe defining those words a little bit more. How about if I draw you a picture?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's worth 1,000 words, I heard.
That is, I think. Okay, I'm going to draw you a picture of a finnyquig.
Oh, also expert opinions if finny quigs still count as an invasive species.
Oh, that's what you said. I thought you said endangered. Invasive, I don't think so. Endangered, I'm pretty sure people would say so.
Quigs are endangered, but finny quigs specifically are invasive. They're the one type of quig that. Okay, I can't even keep up with this anymore.
Okay, look, check out my picture. What do you?
I
Looks
see a
like
bee and a
fish.
flower.
Yeah.
Okay,
pollen,
so
collecting nectar.
okay, so what if I take the word
Oh.
finnyquig and I change it to honeybee?
Ah,
And I ask
Ah,
you, Linda, what's your first memory of a honeybee?
Getting stung by a honeybee when I was probably about 7 years old in my backyard, just running around
Ouch.
barefoot.
I
Okay,
have exactly the same memory. I'm not sure I was the same age, but I stepped on one.
Me too.
all right, so that's a perfect next question. Bruce,
yeah.
what advice would you give to Linda and Don if when they got stepped or when they stepped on the bee and they got stung? What advice would you give them?
I would put, well, I would suggest that they put something on the wound, like some little bit of mud or maybe calamine lotion or something. I would look up. I'd have to
Okay, you
look
would
up
Google
on
it.
on the Googles.
Okay. All right. And then Jojo, I think I'm pretty sure bees, yeah, they're kind of endangered or we're doing things to hurt them. So what could we do to protect them?
Um, Basically, I don't know. Don't kill one. Like, if it's bothering you, like capture it and like set it free or something. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not a beekeeper.
Okay, sure. You
Give it
don't,
to a
yeah, you don't have an
beekeeper. I don't
expert
know.
opinion, but yeah, you could also Google it. Okay, so we read the story, we answered the questions, we got them all right. Then when I asked questions that weren't from the text, you had a hard time until I drew this picture and I changed the word. So what can we do in class to help our students understand beyond just what they see? Because if students understand how our grammar works, they could do this same thing where they could answer all the questions, and then when you ask them any kind of follow-up question, they're like, I don't know. You might have the same reaction. How? We just read the story.
Mm.
I think drawing a picture would be
Great.
helpful.
Great, yeah.
Or trying to relate it maybe to everyday experiences like putting your clothes on or fixing a meal or I don't know, walking down to the street to get your mail or something.
Mm-hmm.
You could also ask if there's anything similar like in their country where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how, what did they do wherever they came from and so forth.
Good. Okay. I like all of those in the classroom. Uh, we have picture dictionaries. Those are a great tool. We also, everybody has a phone, I'm pretty sure. And Google Image is great. Or personal photos if you're talking, if you have a picture of a bee that is really cool, you could show the student and have some kind of personal connection there. Yeah, asking the student about their country. Do they have bees? Do they have honey? All of those tools are great. There's one tool that I think should be used less frequently than the others, and that is Translate. Does anybody know why or does anybody have an idea of why I say to use Translate sparingly?
Because that's not strengthening their English language skills. That's going to their native language skills, and there's always a chance it could get it wrong.
Yes, that's true.
It's not broadening how you learn. It's just still just keeping it to words.
Mm-hmm. Good, exactly. I say if somebody, if you want to go to any country that has Google Translate language, that, you know, if you want to go to Germany and you don't speak a lick of German, you could probably get around okay by just speaking into your phone and doing this. Same with our students. There's, you know, if they're Spanish speakers, they could go any store anywhere and they could do this. It's not the most functional. They're not functioning in English, but they can do it. So that's why I say in class, they have a teacher sitting down with them, talking with them one-on-one. So they don't need that translate tool because they can use that outside of class. But inside class is a really special time for them to deal with the language hands-on, struggle with it, learn.
Because that way they don't end up saying my hovercraft is full of eels.
Yeah, there are things. If you translate a full sentence from English to Spanish, our grammar is different. So a student could learn bad habits. Like in Spanish, they put the noun before the adjective. So if a student is just translating, they might start to think that, oh, this word cat means green, and this word or this word cat means verde, and this word gato means green. The green cat, the cat green. Okay, then they learn bad habits, and we don't need to do that in class. We can work on it. If you're really, really struggling, you can use Translate because there are sometimes you're using more abstract words where, okay, that's like dream. That's really hard to pantomime. That's really hard to, you know, you're sleeping and but you're the TV in your head. That one could be hard for somebody who's low level. So you might want to look up dream to help them move along. But don't,
Patriotism.
yeah, there are all kinds of words that are a little bit more abstract that are, you know, if it helps, if it's one word that's blocking the student from understanding, then go ahead and translate it. But you know, if it's the word table, point to table, say table, have them say table. They don't need to know table is mesa, mesa is table. That one, pretty understandable. I saw a quote that I really liked. It's tell me and I will forget, teach me and I will learn. And that's how I feel about really, really minimalizing your use of translation.
Seems like, Kate, one of the biggest challenges are the expressions. And
Yeah,
that's a challenge in any language because you can't be literal about, you know, I bombed the test. Well,
Idioms are
you know,
difficult.
for
yeah,
yeah. So you know, language. So one of the things I say is that there's just some things that you can't, that you just have to learn, that you just have to,
yeah,
because
Memorize.
that's a shame with every language. There's quirks, irregularities, and English
exactly.
more irregularities than most languages. So.
And jokes and things like that. Once students can start to understand those more abstract concepts, then they're understanding the language. This next
Bless you.
thank you. This next activity we're going to look at is about vocabulary. So this will kind of help because another thing we don't want to do is if we have a student who's really, really low and really new to English, we don't want to be using, you know, university level words. We want to be using we want to be really, really intentional about the type of vocabulary that we use. So let's look at this together. And we have these 3 tiers of words. Tier 1 is going to be very basic, mostly concrete words, things that you could point out for a low level English speaker. So which of these words belongs in tier one?
I'd say
Car,
car, doctor,
um,
school, author, and read, and also grass.
Grass.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not so sure about author,
Mm.
Okay,
but
let's
that's me.
Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I? That makes
yeah,
sense.
okay.
That's cool how it has autocomplete there for you.
Grass, read. Okay,
okay,
I agree with these ones. I believe that these are all tier one words because they are mostly things you can point out. And something like a doctor, that's something that a lot of our students are probably going to encounter right away if they're new to the country or they've been here for a while. They've probably been to the doctor. It's pretty easy to draw a picture of a doctor or find a picture of a doctor, and pretty universal what a doctor looks like. So I would agree that that is a tier one. Author, we had a little bit of conversation around author. What do we think?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got mixed up with that. I was just like, it's another two-syllable word, so it must be like, and then I was like, oh, other people aren't feeling it. That makes sense. I was like, yeah, you can't point out an author in like a crowd.
It'd be harder. So I would say author is a tier two word because an author, they're going to have to understand the concept of reading, writing books first, and they're going to have to understand more about jobs. And then you could say an author is somebody who writes a book, but
For a
that's
living.
for a living. Yeah, that's their job. So yeah, that takes a little bit more. So tier one words, concrete things we can point out. Tier two words are going to be more of these words that are building from tier one. So what's another tier two word?
Summarize?
Transportation.
Seasonal.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Illustrate.
because
Maybe illustrate, yeah.
season itself would probably be like a tier 1.5 word, maybe? Like
Yeah.
Which one?
Seasonal.
season,
Seasonal.
no, season
Seasonal.
would, and then old, that you would be
Mm,
like, oh, related to seasons. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, yeah. Yes, summarize, you would need to have a background knowledge from tier one, summarizing your reading, and then you tell me what you read, but you make it shorter and in your words. Same with seasonal, you need to have some background knowledge and illustrate. Same thing. Great, you guys are doing great. Okay, tier three words. Once again,
Pythagorean.
Again, photosynthesis.
Yeah, the science or math stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, these are going to be.
Transportation.
Oh, I
Mhm.
think transportation is going to be a
That's
tier
two.
two. I forgot
Yeah.
Okay.
transportation.
Yeah, that's
So,
two.
yeah, tier three, we have Pythagorean and photosynthesis. Those are going to be more of words that you're going to use with our very advanced English speakers or GED. And so as you're working with students, start to align how you speak with the level that the student is at. You want to use mostly words that they're familiar with or that are, like I said, concrete, tangible. You can easily give demonstrations of what the word is or show a picture, whatever it is. But you want to help them get to that next tier. So you can sprinkle in some of those tier two words and see if they're able to use what they learned from the tier one to start building on those tier two so that you can start moving them up. But you definitely don't want to use tier three words on somebody who's brand new. And for if you're working with a GED student or a high level learner, you don't need to explain those tier one words and stuff. You can move on and start to have them push themselves more towards those higher tiers.
So
Diane, were you raising your hand? Oh, sorry.
Kate, so when generally when we have two or more students,
Mm-hmm.
they'll generally, the goal, I assume, is to make sure they're roughly on the same equivalent level if possible.
Yeah.
So that, if you've got relatively new to English versus someone who's does well, I I'm going to assume that that's your responsibility to pair us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If I pair you with students who are vastly different English,
Right.
let me know. There's a possibility that I said that, there is some reason like, oh, I would probably tell you like, oh, we're doing this activity where I actually want the higher level student to teach the lower level student. Something like that. But for the most part, if I pair students together, it's because I think that they are a similar level with similar goals.
That's what I assume.
Yeah,
Yeah, just wanted
yeah. And I like to share the students' goals with the teachers so that they know. The other teachers should be able to tell you what the student is working on. So if you have an exercise where you're kind of confused, what are we doing here? Maybe the teacher says, oh, this is listening practice. The student's number one goal is to listen. So you are reading and the student doesn't have a copy of what you're reading. Their goal is just to listen. But the teachers, if you have any questions about the lesson, about the student's goals, about the student's levels, any of those things, ask the teacher before or after class, send them an email, and the teacher can give you some more information about what's going on with the lesson, with the student, with their goals, things like that.
How we have that thing on that form of what you did in the class, and then there's the column to the right. I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking that, for example, the student who asked about immigration help
Mm-hmm.
with to put something like that in that comment section to the right. It's a way to let you know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a great place and to come and tell me. Because it could be sometimes we have students who are like, I want to do citizenship, and then we ask them, okay, that's great. How long have you been in the country? And they say 1 month.
Yeah.
And they're not married to an American, so they have to wait until 5 years, but they can apply at 4 years and like 9 months or something. So that would be good to know. Okay, they eventually want to do citizenship, but we're not gonna give them their own tutor right now. They're not gonna focus on citizenship. Maybe every now and then we'll do lessons that deal with civics, but we're gonna wait quite a while to get them to actually be studying for that. And same with like if a student tells you, I want to get my GED, that's great information to pass on to us. Learning Lab, we ask that students read at an 8th grade reading level to study GED with us, and we do that by giving them a test. So if they say, I want to get my GED, they would get a test, and if they score at an 8th grade reading level or above, if they're already in our classes, then we would say, great, let's get you started. If they score lower than an 8th grade reading level, they might start doing pre-GED. They might start getting some pre-GED materials, which we do have. But if they're reading at a 4th grade reading level or lower, or their English isn't their first language and they're still really working on ESL, then we would say, we know that GED is your goal eventually, but for now we're going to keep working on English, or for now we're going to keep working on reading comprehension. So those are some behind the scene things that we look at when we think about students' goals.
So it might be just either we talk with you or perhaps have the student talk with you about if there's something that comes up, like in that GED example. That's
Yeah.
something that's something that most of us aren't equipped to figure out.
Yeah, and we don't expect you to be. We want you to come to
Right.
us, or yeah, empower. I love the idea that our students are coming to class to be more autonomous. So if a student tells you, I think I want to get my GED, I would love it if they came and talked to me
Right.
and told me about that. But also, yeah, if they say it in passing or they forget to talk to me, it's great to mention that so that it's on my radar. But yeah, there are certain things they have to do to get to that level.
Okay.
Great. Any more questions about students or lessons or rules, anything like that?
No.
What's our next steps?
Okay, so everybody has been in a class. I know Bruce and JoJo are my regular tutors right now. Is everybody else a regular tutor, or have you just been observing?
I've been substituting. I substituted once and I observed once.
Okay.
But I don't know if I get on. Do I talk to you or Jennifer or somebody about getting as a regular, or how does that work?
Yeah, talk to Jennifer. She is the volunteer coordinator. So any scheduling conversation you need to have about classes, it would be through her. So if you email Jennifer after this and say, I did the training, it was great, I learned so much, Kate taught me so much, you know, you can just go on and on about that for a little bit. And then
I'll praise the heck out of you.
and then
get
you
a
can
bonus?
say, you know, you can just throw it in there. And then you can say, here's my availability. Here are the times. We only ask that people commit to one class a week. Most classes are 2 hours. Zoom classes are 1 hour. And there are some off-site classes that are an hour and a half. So we only ask for 2 hours commitment. But if you could do more than that, that's great. But email Jennifer and she will get you connected into a class that fits your schedule.
Will do.
Okay.
Because I'm doing in-class tutoring once a week now, but I spend the winters as a snowbird, so I'm switching to Zoom when I leave. But Jennifer said that's fine. I'll just be working with different students at that time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. And other things, if things come into your life where I can't tutor regularly anymore, but I still want to be involved, signup.com, which is at the bottom of every email that Jennifer sends out, is a great place to check and see for substitute positions. We are always looking for subs. We have snowbirds. We have so many people who get to go on so many great vacations. And I look forward to it one day where I can be like, hey, I'm going to go on a 6-week vacation. So sometimes it's like, hey, I need a tutor for just 6 weeks or something like that. There's always substitute spots that are open and available, and we would love to have them filled.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you have any more questions or if you want to follow up on anything, email me, email Jennifer. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing all of you around Learning Lab or on a Zoom. Thank you so much for volunteering with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Kate. Bye.